Okay, first is C1. Obviously, if you play this map, you know everyone plays this. But if they're not coming full C1, you just use this to basically obviously spot this repush. You can give shots to people crossing on this. That's really it. And now we have the positions in A4, A3. These are just very good defensive locations. If you're playing like a mid or a hold, I guess, strat. So there's a little ridge line here that you can hide behind with like 2 tanks. It makes it very hard to kill, and if you put 2 more here, you have 4. Very good crossfire. It's going to take them probably like at least 5, but probably 6 to kill it. And while in the meantime, you can push out their base or reinforce if needed. Right, now we have a 8, A7 in the little dip. Obviously, I'm sure most of you know the dip. You can just use it to protect the base, basically, and force them to push into you if they want to capture the base. So just a very nice location. I mean, also you can hit shots here, you can sometimes hit people here or coming in here, so quite nice if you're falling back to this to defend base while you're, I don't know, you're pushing mid and their base. You can just delay the enemy team's cap for a long time. Right, next is G0. You're using this, can go here in a quick tank, so 260 ideally, can be an I7 as well. And you're just using it to basically spot this route, so you obviously see them coming, so you can run away, or, you know, fight and overmatch it and kill it. You're just a very annoying position to kill because you completely hold down, and you can just shoot for while they're coming toward you, if you can. Right, next position is like F4 or F3. You're using this to shoot the back of C1 to force them to either overpush or just get farmed in their ass. So yeah, they need to choose if they want to push forward and make these tanks kind of pointless, or go into them, or just sit there and deal damage. Right, now for south. Same thing for north, so C1. Again, you're just using this to spot this approach, and you're also using it to shoot anything in mids, underneath the rails, or just anything really. Right, next is just here in D5. Again, this is just used to spot this and punish it. So yeah, like normally you're just taking this at the start of the game, threatening, you know, pushing their base. So they cross back over, you do some shots on them, free damage. Right, next is the position I was talking about here. You're normally taking this ideally in an I7 or something with turret armor. And the idea is you're kind of just pushing anything off this angle, because if they want to peek on this I7 from here, they get shot from, hopefully you have people here. So they can't really peek on you. You can then start peeking here to annoy this guy. There's a guy in this corner. And then you can kind of, like, if there's nothing here or here, you then can peek all the way and see if there's anything here. So you just get very deep info on a B line. You obviously need to be worried that they might repush you. But if they repush you, they're in lower ground, and hopefully you have more tanks somewhere in mids to just repush them and kill them. Right, next is these little houses here. You're using this in like to 69. I mean, it can be used in kind of anything, but if you're going full C1, you can put 2 tanks out here. I'd probably start them here and then they go out wide just so they don't get pushed at the start of the game or get caught. So, and they're basically designed to shoot the people on the back of C1, forcing them to overpush. And you have like 2 here and 1 at the back here, then the enemy team have no kind of safe place to play, and hopefully you might win C1. Okay, next is similar to south position again. It's G0, G9. Again, you're just using this to kind of spot this approach. Also kind of stops them from playing anywhere here. And they are forced to come to like here to kill you. If they want to peek on you from here, they just get covered from here. So just a nice position, an annoying position. Obviously, you don't take this position always, but if you're playing some like mid island play, you would take it. Okay, final position from south is G2, F2, H2, sorry. And you're just using this again just to spot this approach. So then you can then run away to here or just run back, depending on how much you have here already. You need to be careful with this position. There is like a little dip here that you can just get killed from, but yeah, shouldn't stay here. If they start pushing this and this or something. Like as soon as they get these positions, they can like eventually jump into this dip and then they kill anything here. So you need to be careful about that. Right, for EBR runs, you kind of have 2 options. It's either mid or C1. I would send your EBR C1 if, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I would send your EBR C1 if you are doing some kind of split. Because like if you're going this way anyway with a lot of tanks, you don't really need the info that there's going to be sitting here. Especially from north, EBR runs is a lot harder to do to get info. So C1 is just kind of more stable, I guess. You'll get the info and your EBR won't die for it. But the EBR runs are basically C1, obviously, you do like 1 or 2 runs and then you fuck off. And the other one is just like you can come under the like jump probably over like this and come here and then do a run like on here. You can do like this run on the rails, but it's very scary because you do not know if the enemy team is just coming here with some tanks and sitting here and then you just die. So I think a bit more of a safe way is to do this, but I would just recommend sending your EBRC1 every time, really. And it is kind of the same for south. So south, you can go C1, see if they're coming. If you are, again, going C1, it is maybe worth just sending your EBR like this, and then he runs away. So like his route would be something like this, going up on the rails and then turning around. So EBR should see this, so he should see if they're coming C1, and he also should be able to see if there's anything coming mid. So yeah, that's the 2 runs for Serene. So the first strat for North is just a simple C1. Obviously, it's very simple reactions here. If your EBR sees nothing, you send some stuff back. If you see them coming, you fight. You need to play all aggressively on like this side with like 1 or 2 on this ridge, and you just play. Ideally, you go in between the strikes that you place, and then you get above them and you kill them. But yeah, a lot can happen. The more difficult part is if they're not coming C1, you then will send some stuff back. I would send probably like 5 back myself. So like I probably would send like 560p's back with like the E5 coming here, if you can. Because obviously if they're coming full mid, Depends if you can cross this in time. But yeah, it's pretty simple. If this happens, you need to. I mean, I would still bring more back. I'd bring like this, something like this. I would still send enough, like maybe 2 or 3. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, just enough here. You have some here to, in case they just full send your base. You have these tanks that also cross over. Yeah, you get shot here, but yeah. You could also think about just doing this instantly with 2 tanks. To then peek on these people so you can cross over with these tanks unpunished. But it kind of depends on what you see, I think. If you see them literally just full sending their base or your base, then yeah, I would probably send more to here, but it's kind of up to you, really. If the game slows down, like let's say the game slows down and you send like this, then yeah, you do the same move. You send under the bridge with enough. It kind of depends on how much is here. Obviously, you probably send like 1 more than they have, maybe 2. So let's just say they do this. Let's say they have, I don't know, they have 2 or 3 here. You have 4. You just peek on him. You hopefully kill him. He can't really stay safe on this rock, so he has to fall back to here. If he's on this rock, depends if they have anything here, and then you can peek on this guy, and then you can slowly just kill that mid, and then you can kind of work on what you want to push. Like if you have killed mid, I would probably just try and push their base, but like it depends on what you see, obviously. Like you may see like after a while your EBR, after the C1 spot, your EBR should be doing like runs here probably. Maybe you send a heavy tank here. So yeah, so like the EBR will get info on what is here kind of, and then you can decide if you want to push it or not. But yeah, I think the main idea is to get tanks here and get tanks here, but like a problem is if you overcommit to here, you will never cross back because they will have enough here to punish your cross, and then they will just repush C1. And if you want to cross this in front of 460Bs, you get punished, and then they see it coming, and then they can just even stop with this if they want, or just get up here. I don't know if you're fast. I don't think you will be fast enough to rotate all the way to C1, even like that. So it's always helpful to have tanks here, so then you can come back and do this play always. So yeah, I don't think there's many more reactions to this strat. Again, as I said in EBR runs, it's up to you if you want to send your EBR down in the mid. Like it probably is technically better than sending him C1 because you get that early info and you kind of see what is coming. But yeah, it's kind of up to you on how you want your EBR or what you want your EBR to do. So yeah, like that's why if I go back far enough. Like this is why I kind of have this E5 here because you can kind of spot things coming here. You can use this position here to also see it, but it needs to be probably a 279 to stay alive here because you cannot run from here. So you'll need to be a 279 so you can angle up and you can even watch this cross. So yeah, but that's kind of it for this strat. Okay, here is more of a split strat, where you're basically sending your EBR C1 to get C1 info. If they are coming, great, he runs away. You get that info, you can take some map control. If you don't see them coming, then you can just send your double 279 up to C1 or your double 60P, up to you. Again, these can kind of be either 60Ps or E5. I mean, it really should be 60Ps. I just like 279s just to like repush C1 because they're kind of annoying if they get above you. So yeah, but yeah, if you see nothing, you can take it. If you see stuff, don't take it. Simple as. Yeah, this 279 kind of spots mid for you a little bit, and he also controls this lane a bit as well. So yeah, so you kind of get that info. If they are pushing mid straight, you obviously I would probably rotate 2 tanks back, like double 60p if you can. If they push like this, you need to bring tanks, like all these tanks, to here to fight them, because as soon as they get to here, they can kind of kill these 60ps if they're playing like some island and this kind of splits. So you need to be like worried about that. Like you can send these 60ps to island or just keep them like back here if you want. So it's kind of up to you. But I like them here so I can take this control quicker. But keeping them here is also fine. I'd leave this 279 up here because he's angled up. And if they want to kill him, they need to come all the way through. And hopefully you'll get shots on them for doing it. That's why I kind of keep these guys close also, so they can't just kill this 279. But yeah, if I don't know, but that's like the two kind of main reactions for the strat. Because obviously, I mean, the two strats on Serene are either playing C1, mid and island, or full mid. And if they play full mid, then you have people out wide, and they like you just take this side of the map and you kill them as they come into your base. Cross over 2 tanks to here, take C1. If they want to push into your base, they push into 6 tanks in good crossfire. So good luck. Yeah, they also get punished through mid, so kind of why they need to push island as well. They would be like, I don't know, like a tank, maybe a tank, 6, and then I don't know, one more somewhere back here, I guess, or somewhere in mid, right? But hopefully, you know, you can stop this push from happening because yeah, as soon as they get to like here, and even I mean, if they get to here, then you're definitely dead. But here you're somewhat safe because you have like this rock, and you can kind of play the corner a bit as well. But yeah, that's kind of the two reactions. If they play full C1, obviously EBR runs away. You hold this flank. You can reinforce it if you think they're going to push it. I mean, that's kind of the advantage. You can reinforce this and then still just take the rest of the map. So I don't know. You would probably take like 279 out here. You'd probably send your 60 TPs to take this side, and they probably come out to like here. The 60 TP can probably also come as well. And then yeah, it's kind of getting. You need to think of what you want to do now. Let's say you have reinforced this. So there you go. Now you have 6 there. And yeah, now it's all about kind of seeing where the enemy is not, or where the enemy is, sorry. Because that's the side you want to push. And that's kind of why it's kind of annoying to play this side. Because you kind of, this map, because you can't really get info that well without kind of sacrificing your EBR. Like, really, you kind of want your EBR to like run this ridge, really, to see if there's anything coming back and forth, or ideally you kind of see this, but it's quite hard. So, I mean, the ideal thing is quite hard to think about without seeing what the enemy is doing. Like, the very simple version would just be repushing C1 after showing presence here to force them to kind of come back. Obviously, you have this guy. If you think this guy can push up to here, that's great. It's kind of just awkward because sometimes the enemy team comes straight back to here and he gets repushed and he dies. But yeah, you just send your 60Bs like to here with your 279 here, and then you're kind of good because they can't play here against your 60Bs. I mean, they can peek like here to shoot them, but at least you can kind of shoot them back. And even if you have a tank here, I think you can kind of shoot that. Yeah, just about. So you can put a tank somewhere here to shoot the people on the rail. So like this is like ideal, and then you repush C1 because I mean you have 8 here. I mean this 279 would probably also join, so you have 9. And yeah, you're kind of good in that regard because then you're pushing with 8 versus. I mean most people, if it's this kind of split, they'll probably keep 5 or 6. I would think. So you kind of overmatch that. These 60Ps can also come on the inside and come to here to also shoot C1, but needs to be good timing. Yeah, that's kind of it very simply. Problems may arise if they've done a split themselves and taken C1 and kind of pushed mid as well, because then you have literally no map control. So you need to probably repush mid. So like, yeah, like it again would be like 60Bs coming this way, and maybe these tanks also pushing. So you kind of crunch this group. They will obviously run away to here, ideally, and try and get cover from C1. So yeah, you need to think about what you do in that scenario, because that's probably worst case scenario. But most people are not splitting C1 and also mid because it's very weird. But yeah, if there is a guy here, you kind of just need to kill him because you want. Where's the mode? Like you kind of want. No, wait. Do you want this? It's not gonna work, is it? Like you kind of want. You want that control really, to put them in this kind of box to then repush this and this. So if they're still here, then yeah, quite annoying. And if they've got a guy into here, you might want to even think about repushing him. But yeah, you might get fucked obviously if you repush this. So maybe repushing like this is easier. But yeah, it's annoying for splitting. It's a lot easier just going C1 and reacting off of that, but sometimes you can just lose if they're very quick. But yeah, that's it for south. Right. Yapping. Stop. This is the strat I showed you from the north. I think the second one. Yeah, the second one. As you see, it's kind of like my split opening. I have changed slightly. Like I don't put this 279 where I'm going anymore. But to be fair, it did work quite well. As you can see, this 279 here does actually spot this, which is very helpful. Even I7s apparently, so it's very good. Obviously because they're pushing mid, I fall back. And I obviously am telling like 2 tanks to go to C1. The rest can come like go maybe push through mid. We'll see. But yeah, as you can see, we're also playing Island. So I will shortly tell my tanks in the base to go over and help. Yeah, it's kind of why I put a 279 on the top to stop this I7 getting there. Because like if you can get on top, then you can never do this, and you can never hold your push. Obviously, use strike to try and get these I7s shots on their ass of the 60Bs. As you can see, they do get shots. So I'm forced to repush these I7s to make sure my island people survive. And obviously, because I have WE5 now watching, it would be even better on my, I guess, updated strat, the one I showed you. I have a tank in on this island, which is meant to stop these kind of pushes completely. So, you live and you learn, basically. But because I have 279s, I can just use these kind of like broken buildings to take less damage. So, still obviously, 279 is still very much powerful. But yeah, as you can see, I just kill these I7s that are close. I probably said something actually different in my when I was explaining it in the game or on the strat sketch. But yeah, if you can repush these tanks, if they're doing this kind of split, I would definitely try and kill them if you can. Rather than probably playing here because you have so much cover with the broken houses and stuff. Where I think it's actually fine. But yeah, as you can see, like now, I've kind of made the enemy kind of stuck. They can't really do much. We are 4k up, and yeah, now I'm a bit slow at doing this, but now's the time that I should be pressuring out the west, because it's obviously static on the 9-0, and mid is obviously lost for them. So yeah, okay, and now we kill this guy, so 4 guns up now, which is very nice, obviously. And yeah, we should be pressuring out the west now. I was thinking about pressuring out the 9-0 here, just because I thought all their tanks were close and quite killable, to be honest. But at the same time, they can shoot this cross with these people here, and yeah, so we might not have been great, but honestly, I think both would have worked by now. Honestly, so yeah, I think you could have done either. Honestly, in this scenario, because I mean they only have what I think 3 tanks island close, and you would just pick them up. But see what I mean? Like I think Spotless and the other E5, yeah, he took some shots going there, so you know, it would have just been better to push out the west here, especially because they only have 1 tank defending the entire flank. But my move did pressure these people to kind of come back. Like if I didn't, maybe these people come and help this guy. So, like you could say, maybe it helped. But yeah, I mean with 6 guns up, like the game is over. Basically, they cannot do anything. I mean, we're like 9k up as well, so game was very much over after we caught them 3 i7s. I mean, technically caught 4, technically. So, yeah. It's quite a nice strat, I think, for these kind of aggressive island and mid pushes. It just becomes difficult if they go full C1 and they are defending, because it becomes quite hard then to push something with intel. But yeah, if you are defending yourself, I think this strat works quite well because you just take whatever the enemy team doesn't, basically. And if they come full C1, I mean, if they don't come full C1 and they do this mid push, I think it works quite well. Just need to make sure your tanks that you send a C1, they can come back, and you send like only 1 or 2 to C1, and then come back with the rest to repush this if they are doing this. If they did send more, like if they sent 6 tanks like this, maybe you can't stop it in time. Maybe. But yeah. It's a pretty good game, I would say. Shows the strat working well. Anyway, I'll show you the next replay. Right, here's another, I guess, replay or video from the... Completely lost my train of thought. Just another replay or video from North. This is just going C1. This is... I don't think it's me I've seen. I don't think I go C1 very often nowadays. But yeah, as you can see, they are pushing mid. Probably even like here, as soon as you see a 60p middle, you probably know they're not playing C1. So I mean, you could wait for like this EBR spot if you want to be 100% sure that they're not coming. But as soon as I see a 60p middle, I don't think they're going to play C1. But yeah, anyway, I think first mistake here is we're sending way too much for C1 still. I think it's 5 tanks, I think we're sending, which is a bit too much. We should have 3 or 2 max. So yeah, I mean, obviously we come back to our base with, I think it's 3, maybe 4. It might be 4, which is, I mean, ideally that's kind of why you need the 2 tanks. Like as you can see now, we have 5 tanks kind of just completely out the game. So we're gonna be in a bit of trouble in a sec because their whole team is in our base, right? Um, so yeah, if we had these, like if we had these double 60Ps and they were here, I think we would have been in a lot better position. If we had these two across to here that then could cross over to B7, I think would be very good. But we don't have that. So we are going to be overmatched in base by a lot, really. So in this kind of scenario, we probably should have saved strike. I don't know who had it, but should probably save strike here because obviously the base is going to be captured. But I mean, I understand why it was used because big group of tanks, right? But as you can see, like these 3 tanks are late and they got some shots. I don't think they got many shots, if shots at all. Probably got 1, maybe, but not enough to make up for it. And now we're just having to push back into our base. Very in a weird push. I mean, we only got 3 back, which is really bad. I think you want 5 back ideally if you think they're full pushing mid. Is it 5? No, we got 4 back. So yeah, I think one more tank, one more 60p there with 2 more on this corner where Shark is now to stop them to shoot them crossing over to the corner and then help with corner even more. I think that's ideal, to be honest. If they're doing this heavy mid push, but obviously you can't cross over to here if they have tanks here in D5, you know? So you can only send tanks here if they're going like full into, I don't know, this alleyway, I guess. If there is still some tanks here, then your base should be kind of safe with just 5 tanks here. And then you just go obviously push this group. But in this scenario, we should have 5 here. Probably 2 is enough. You could technically say in hindsight 1 probably, but I think sending 2 is fine in most cases. You should be able to kind of control the rest of your base with 13 tanks, really. But as we have these 3 9-0s as well, we can always repush this guy very easily, so that's good for us. But yeah, we're in a bit of a shit scenario because obviously we have to push back into our base, and we are also very slow in doing it. Like Pola and probably Dragon should already be driving, with probably all the 60B should be driving already by now, honestly. So we kind of are getting kind of quite close on the cap. Turns okay, but yeah. And then 60B gets blocked and then doesn't drive further towards the cap and then bounces. So, yeah, just I mean, like it was like this call obviously wasn't quick enough. It should have came in quicker to reset the base because it was just a cap race. Like, as soon as it gets to like we are going for the cap, like you should just instantly just go for resets here. And yeah, the other problem was sending 5 tanks to C1. Should only send 2 max because you're gonna have the rest of your team here ready to like the rest of your team here to either repush into this or repush into your base again. So yeah, I think this is quite a nice game to learn from, and yeah, I hope you can learn from it at least. But there's some important lessons for it. Okay, for South, this is just a very basic C1 with double tank mid. These two 60s are driving more like this, and then to here if the EBR sees them coming C1. If they go straight here, they might get caught if they are pushing mid straight. And if they push mid straight, when you do this, you can kind of run under, so you're kind of fine. But yeah, so again, quite simple reactions. If they're going Z1, you fight, try and get in between the strikes, and trying to get onto the high ground to kill them, push them lower so the double 260 can work. Yeah, that's very simple for if they come C1. If they don't, it's kind of similar. Like I would come back with 5-6 DPs, maybe 6. I would probably get like your 260s are probably left this, so they probably want to come to like here or something. And yeah, now you're kind of just seeing what they do, trying to get info, trying to see what's here with these double tank. The tank are covered by this, so they can't really peek on you. Your EBR is, I don't know, somewhere. He probably is doing runs here as well. Let's just put him in that bush for now. But yeah, it's kind of just free reign for whatever the EBR wants to do. Yeah, you probably have to slowly get info now and see what they're doing. Because it's kind of like this is the pain of Serene. Like you do not know what to push until you've kind of pushed in, because it's very hard to get info on this map. So I mean, your probably next move is something like sending like a few tanks over, across. I don't know, you get 2 here, 1 here, I guess. And then you kind of just want to see what's gonna here. Obviously, they might be camping, which is like, I mean, at lower elos, it's quite possible that people camp on this map quite hard. I mean, they just kind of camp like that kind of line. If they are, you kind of just push into this group. But you know, if they have pushed up to here, it becomes even more annoying to what side you want to push. I would say if you want to commit to a side, it is just kind of 50-50. This pushing this out is fucking painful because there's a bowl here, and yeah, you have to commit into it. And if they have people here, you will just not have a fun time. That's why I kind of prefer to play a kind of mid from south, but especially because like this position is just so powerful because you spot this rotation. But if you are just playing a simple 1-2, a C1, then yeah, you kind of need to decide on what you want to do from here. Like you can obviously just bring tanks back to C1 and push into this tank. If you see 4, I probably would push into it. Any more than 4, I'd probably think about something else. But like, what do we have? I mean, if you want to push out the south, I would bring like all these tanks. Yeah. So you have 5 here, 6 I guess with EBR, and you push out this for the rest. You might need like double tank here in case they have something here and he falls back. But yeah, the rest is just pushing this, killing this. It'll be painful if they're set up for it. But yeah, that's kind of it. If they are sending anything mid, I would definitely think about like if they're, I don't know, let's say their setup is that's not red. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say 5. I don't know. They have a tank, like 2 tanks here, 3 here, a guy here, a guy here. Let's say an EBR. Guy in base maybe. Yeah, that's 30, right? If they have something here, I would send these double 260s and maybe something else to just kill this group because you want to be able to cross your K line unspotted, kind of similar to A line. Like you need to kind of kill this so then you can cross back and forth unspotted, so they can't prepare for what you're doing. And it's quite easy to kill them. They don't have great shots from really anywhere. And you know, if they're here, again, you probably just push them back off the corner, and then you repush this, and then repush this in the same time, and just kind of kill this whole place. You need to be careful from this, because they do have shots, just. But hopefully with these double 260s here, you can kind of push these people off the angle, and these 60 DPs can punish if they do peek it, and you can kind of just kill this entire line of tanks. Yeah, it becomes a bit more difficult if, you know, these tanks are also like hiding back here or something. Or maybe they're just full, like, I don't know, it's something like this. Like, it's just so hard to get info. Like, you know, there's 5 here, but pushing this is, again, hard. You need at least 2 tanks more than what they have, maybe even 3. I would probably even push it like this, probably, because I think you get spotted less early, probably, but either works from C1 or this. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling at the moment, but yeah, even thinking about it now, Serene is just a hard map to figure out what you want to push. I prefer this push because at least you don't give away your base. If you do push this, you need to kind of have, I don't know, probably 4 defending your base, maybe 5, and then the rest pushing this. But yeah, it is kind of just not 50-50, but I mean, it is 50-50 of what you want to push. It's either you're pushing this or you're pushing this. If they're not playing here with anything, then great, just take it with 1 tank to here. And then you decide again if you want to push their base or you want to push this. I would probably push their base in that instance, just because I think pushing the A7 is very powerful. Since you get this, like, the whole base dies, then you can hold your base pretty easy with like 4 again. But again, pushing this is also completely fine. So yeah, that's it for that strat. Right, next is south is kind of a split, not split, but I made an island play. And yeah, I think I talked about this in the north strat, but yeah, the I7 is here just to get early info. Because obviously as soon as they see, if they have their EBR mid and they see this, they will cross back over. And you're sending 460Ps to punish this cross. Yeah, you're just punishing it. These 60Ps come to like here, and if there's anything island, you just kill it, basically. If you don't see any, if you see them coming full C1, I would probably take like some tanks back just to have this control. I mean, they might not push this out, but kind of just nice having a tank here just to watch it so your EBR can do something else. But I mean, going here with EBR is fine. Also, the reason to take like this back is so you can kind of like, if they do come into this, then you can repush C1 a bit quicker. But I mean, you have a lot mid, to where I think it should be fine. Let's say you're probably doing something like this after you establish that they're C1. Let's say we bring a tank back, and then yeah, you kind of decide on what you want to push, and like depends on what you see, right? Let's say we just keep this guy here in case they repush. Yeah, if you see them coming back, I would probably think about repushing C1. It depends how much they brought back, obviously. If they brought like a shit ton back, I would just bring back stuff and repush C1 with probably +3 of what you think they have there. So if they have 3 tanks, I would bring 6. And yeah, like if you're pushing their base, I would bring these 2 tanks. These tanks can stay here. If you think if there's still a guy here, then probably leave 1 tank here just so you have crossfire. And then you're kind of just sitting here with the rest, and you go push that base. This 260 probably just comes to like here or something. I don't know. And now you're just repushing A7, obviously because you need to take this, so you take the base. And I don't know. Again, I would take +3, maybe +2 of what they have, and then I would have the 3 in the cap. here. Because if they are just sitting, you should be kind of fine doing this. It's kind of more at the start of the game. They might just full send your base because, I don't know, they want to, I guess, and they're calling your bluff. So then it's just kind of a cap race, which they might win because A7 is just so, because you have things island, it takes just so long to push it out. So you can have the full tanks being kind of pointless. But most people never kind of push straight ever really down C1 IMO from what I've ever seen. But yeah, if they haven't pushed across with a lot, you see, I don't know, let's say they're full C1 and they've come back with like 4, I would definitely push their base with like 7 or 8. That should be a pretty easy win, I think. And yeah, if they're just playing like a camp of like, I don't know, where's that button? Yeah, this one. Like that. Like if they're camping like this, I would push this group and just kill it with enough. Just because I think it's easiest. You can take positions like up here as well, really, as long as they have kind of nothing here. If they have this, like if they have a guy up here, then you might not be able to play here, because you want a guy here and then a guy watching like this, so they can't just come around and kill this guy. But yeah, if they are just camping like A7, A3, and like, I don't know, like that line, then yeah, pushing this is just a lot easier. But I mean, this you can even just push like this with a lot of your team and just kill this and sit here. And now these tanks are now trapped because you have, I don't know, 2 on C1, some here, and the rest of your team killing this. So now you've kind of killed all these people. These 4 or 5 tanks are now stuck. I mean, they could repush C1, but if they do, then like you will just push their base, and these 2 tanks just run away, or they even maybe stay and fight to delay them, or keep like 3 tanks busy for 2. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of it for this strat. If it's like they are also pushing mid, then yeah, you kind of just need to see how you want to do. Ideally, you get some tanks obviously into this still, and these tanks kind of just sit defensively in these houses, and then it kind of just depends on who wins the island. Not really much you can do about that. It's kind of just the nature of Serene. Sometimes some people just have a better split than you, and you will lose. Not really much you can do in that case. But I mean, you have 5 island, so it would more than likely be a stalemate. Not many teams are sending. Well, there's a few. I think Pure, Tilt are sending BZ's island now with a lot. A lot of teams, I don't know. Like for some reason, people are taking this side with like 8 tanks, and then holding this with like 2, or maybe not even holding it at all and just hiding like this. But yeah, you won't see that, I don't think, a lot. Yeah, kind of rambling at this point, but I think that's kind of everything kind of explained. So yeah, onto some replays, I guess. I'm gonna actually show you 3 from south, just because I kind of like this strat. But it's, I don't know how to describe it, like difficult kind of, because there's just a lot of reactions that could happen. So yeah, the idea is basically you're pressuring some to C1, but you're also pressuring mid at the same time. Like these BZs can be I7s as well. Like the idea behind the strat is like you're bringing so many Russian heavies that it's like screaming that you're gonna go through mid and do an island play. So they split off of that, and if they don't, then You just come here with a lot, they hopefully see you and rotate back. If they do go C1, and they just get punished a lot. These 60Ps are only kind of going all the way if the CBR sees them. Well, we see them returning, basically. If we don't see them returning and they just keep on going full C1, for some reason, obviously these TPs kind of find some holddowns and just hiding them. But normally what will happen, or hopefully will happen, is the enemy team splits. So they go this way with some. They might see these 60Ps, but it should be okay. Because they will send, okay, we just send 6 there. And then the idea is these 3 BZs come join. So then you have an overmatch here. They can't really pressure out these guys. These double 260s come out wide to the house. And now they have farm 1C1. This Hori is coming to like here and farming if they push over. So if they've done any kind of split, they will just die here, which is quite nice. But yeah, you need to be very careful with these tanks at this beginning so they don't get YOLO'd pushed. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of the strat. That's, I guess, the 2 main reactions. Like they either split to try and hold this and come back to base with a few because they see 5 tanks. But yeah, you can also, if they go like full C1, you can even join with these I7s like this quickly. If for some reason you don't think you can push at their base, I guess, like if they have like 2 here, maybe you have to think about just going full C1 from 2 angles, and then these I7s can just join as well. But yeah, there's a lot to think about in this strat, but it is a good one, I think. Right, okay, this is all the replay, first replay for Serene South. I haven't been playing advances recently, so you're gonna have to deal with just a YouTube video. I might try and get a Serene later. I don't know actually. Yeah, I guess you'll see in the next replay if I do one. But yeah, this is the strat I was talking about, or the third strat I showed, of the kind of split, and you'll kind of see it work exactly the way it's meant to here. I changed the Hurricane to an EBR because it just, and as you can see, this is why in EBR it's very hard to scout from south without being punished, because I just catch him and basically immediately with a 260, right? So like he cannot spot the C1, which is like the best for this strat basically, because well, he doesn't see where my 60Ps are at all. So it's actually very good for me. If the EBR goes C1, he will always see the 60Ps going, and they will probably reinforce that side. But as you can see, the 60P gets caught, because I think he was probably just going towards 1-2, but he was going to sit on the house. But as you can see, we kind of catch him, and we focus him down. And because, like in this moment, because I mean I've only seen 2 cross, which is not really a lot, so I decided to just take on pushing C1. And you see Dan is already farming people in C1, and I'm going over as well, and I'll start farming too. And I've sent my I7s that were next to my Hori to also help. Obviously I've changed them to BZs. They can still be I7s if you want them to be. But I just thought BZs are faster to repush C1 than I7s, so can support faster, but at the same time you will lose that. Oh, they're bringing, how many? It's like what? 7 I7s? Is it? 5 I7s double 260, so like 7 Russian heavies. So they will probably maybe not think you're pushing mid as fast, so it's kind of up to you, really. But as you can see, like this spot, now I have all the shots in the world on their people. I also overmatched them on C1 because they sent some stuff back to defend. So it's like another reason from south north I would always send my EBR C1 because it's very hard to get that info. But maybe if he went over the rails here and did the spot here, maybe he would have been fine. But as you can see, the strat works quite well when people don't see the 60 degrees coming C1. If they did, I think they would be faster at they wouldn't go back as far. Like they'd probably just stop in, or they would just keep on going probably. They would keep on going probably. I would think. They would still see their 5 tanks mid, so maybe they send like 2 back. But yeah, I wouldn't know how people would react. Probably would be going C1 with most of your team, but you'd send like 3 back or something. But at the same time, if they send 3 back, you could maybe overpush that and just delay on C1 with, I mean, yeah, I think you have 8 because I have 5 60Bs and 3 I7s. But yeah. And yeah, I mean, you saw this strat worked very well. If they came full mid, I don't know really. I mean, if they come full mid, obviously you just go under the rail, probably, or defensive positions here and bring the BZs to here, or the I7, sorry, from like F2 over, and you take C1 with a few, probably, and the other 60Bs come to here. So I do think this strat is quite good. It can definitely work quite well, as you can see. And yeah, no, just clean up and win. So yeah, pretty good score. Yeah. And this is the advance if you want to hear the comms.